July 2021. And joining me in looking at the issues we want to discuss today is Mr. Oluku Bienusi Matthew. Mr. Matthew, thank you for joining us at the Pundits.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yes. Waking up this morning, the headlines and most social media platforms was washed with the news of the Yoruba Nation agitator in person of Mr. Sunday Adeyemo, aka Sunday Igboho, has been arrested in Benin Republic, Cotonou. And away from that, we're also looking at enemies of Nigeria progress opposing transmission of INEC. And leaving that headline,
election
transmission, yes, that credited, that statement is credited to INC. Moving away from that, we're also looking at Zamfara deputy governor gets relief as court stops alleged impeachment. So away from that, we'll be looking at Anambra governorship election. Court affirms Uba Soludo candidacy, drops PDP Ozigbo. That's another headline that will look very interesting, and considering the trend of what is going to happen as a result of court cases back and forth between both the APC, the PDP, and the APGA, the three dominant political parties in the state. We'll also be looking at result transmission, no plan to rig 2023 election. That statement is credited to the aid of the president.
on political matters.
We'll be looking at 2021. Apapa Gridlock, security agent hoodlums clash over control of extortion. That will be an interesting headline. I haven't seen for those who have gone towards Apapa area.
Maybe the non-staters want to
legalize
the activities.
Take over from those in security apparatus, who should collect what and how. But it's a pity sometimes we see our police officers and the naval officers and security agents collecting monies and collecting change from some hoodlums close to the road. It is worrisome. Away from that, we'll also be looking at Igboho's arrest, fears of protest, violence hits Southwest. Then also we'll be looking at Zamfara, major political crisis brew over Matawale's defection to APC, deputy's refusal to join. Then we're looking at Uriwa calls for punishment of NAF spokesperson, give reasons for military plane crashes, because the statement of the NAF spokesperson was
initially denied that there was a crash.
Yes,
and
he
subsequently admitted.
When the young man that escaped the crash came out and gave a different version of the story. Then we'll also be looking at the trendy video on social media network where Ghanaian youth rejected a free bag of rice from politicians and demanding job creation. Can this really be applicable to Nigeria? We'll be discussing that as well. Then moving over to the air crash, untold story of how villagers saved jet fighter pilot.
Those are the real patriotic Nigerians.
Gunmen. Yeah, no, we have so many patriotic Nigerians.
No, those are the real patriotic Nigerians. Not the one in the offices and.
Oh, okay, yeah, the political class.
Those are the real patriotic
Nigerians. Yes, it's true. How I wish you can get some of those people into leadership position. I believe we have so many young people, so many Nigerians that when they get to leadership position, they are going to perform far better than the kind of people we have in governance. So the first headline, Mr. Matthew, let's look at Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Igboho arrested in Cotonou. Now the question is, he would have known that he would be nabbed in any of the neighboring countries from Cotonou, Ghana, Togo. Those are the. So what do you think about that? Because I know they would have tracked him from the very first time he booked.
But I don't think, because at the time his house was invaded, the DSS made us understand that they were able to seize his passport. So to that extent, I don't think the name of to have killed two of his aides, especially where the aides have been in detention for some time now, and the government through the DSS is not willing to allow them charged to be caught. Especially where we are seeing a similar scenario playing out in the case of Nnamdi Kanu. Permit me to use what is transparent currently in the Nnamdi Kanu case to support my argument. We have a situation where British had command in Nigeria here, which you have taken to Nigerian DSS. for Nnamdi Kanu to sign so that the British consulate can get his consent for consular assistance. And there was another form too that they obtained from a British law firm which want to take over his case. So in a nutshell, his lawyer delivered 2 forms to DSS, one from British High Commission in Nigeria for consular assistance, another one to enable the firm get his consent to take over the case. As at the last count, we were made to understand that the 2 forms were returned to the lawyer without Nnamdi Kanu appending his signature. What does that tell you? It tells you that if a Sunday Igboho is in custody, that he might not get the liberty of the freedom accorded to him by the Constitution or the rights accorded to him by the Constitution. And I think I understand the fear of Nigerian government, because for what I must understand, if Nigerian government or the DSS allows Nnamdi Kanu to sign those form, especially the one that is seeking that seeking the law firm in
UK,
Britain
yes,
to take over the case, what will happen is that law firm in Britain will go to a British court to ask a British court to assume either territorial jurisdiction or universal jurisdiction over the case. And once the court assumes jurisdiction in that manner, they will go back to that same court in Britain to ask the court to issue a right of mandamus against Nigerian government, compelling Nigerian government to produce Nnamdi Kanu in Britain to determine whether the process of extradition was right or wrong.
So that will now
will
now be the premise.
Yes,
of the court.
I think that is what the federal government or the DSS is trying to avoid. But however I look at system that do not have respect for rule of law.
Is it the first time the Nigerian system?
Now, taking a cue from that.
Is it the first time the Nigerian system is casted to not have obeyed the rule of law within the international
but it is another issue that has come to the front burner. Now, taking a cue from that, don't forget that Sunday Igboho, through his lawyers, have written to the Criminal Court of Justice.
Virtually all social to use the state apparatus and those who are in, who probably sometimes are fighting for their people, especially down south. The government is so quick to deploy intelligence and the DSS, and the worst scenarios of insecurity, the worst attack.
If you, who is a government, who should even protect rule of law? Yeah.
On what ground?
The Femi would have told you.
Okay. Sorry for the breaking transmission. So, Mr. Martin, looking at the antecedent of this government for the cases of Dasuki, to the cases of the case of El Zazaki, even to some of the judges that the government had to send DSS to raid their houses
at the dead of the
night. And looking at what is happening to Nnamdi Kanu, should Sunday Igboho present himself to be charged to court?
That is the fear of every Nigerian.
Yes or no?
Because for me, the government should provide justification even as it
does.
I'm coming.
Justification.
I'm coming. Why I'm saying justification is British government, German government should step in. So if they have commitment from Nigerian government that if he's brought into Nigeria, that his rights will be protected, that they will not persecute him, that what they want to do is prosecution.
Obviously, they're going to say that.
Then they should extract commitment from Nigerian states.
Who?
And Nigeria. I'm coming. I'm talking of Germany. And if Nigerian government happens to violate those commitments, I think German government have what it takes to hold Nigeria to account. That is even where I'm looking at the British government stepping into Nnamdi Kanu's case. I'm not saying Kanu should not be prosecuted anyway. What I'm trying to say in essence is, if the British High Commission in Nigeria sent a form to Nnamdi Kanu to sign to get his consent for consular assistance, I don't think it's out of place legally for Nigerian DSS to allow him to sign that form. And if you are looking for diplomatic assistance from a law firm in Britain, I don't think it's out of place for even Nigerian DSS to deprive him from signing that consent to enable that firm in Britain, legal firm in Britain, to take over the case. Don't forget that in the case of Nigeria versus P&ID, a British arbitration panel assumed jurisdiction over the case, and a $9.6 billion was awarded against the Nigerian government. Though Nigerian government has stepped the case further, the way it stands, there's a court in Britain that have varied that arbitration judgment. What I'm trying to say in this effort is,
so for our viewers at home who wants to their opinions to be viewed as well, you can please send in your comment through to the online platform. You can ask questions, and you can also make your comments known. So I think we've seen Mr. Kuti 5. I think Kuti 5. Okay, I think that is a greeting pattern he used the sign in greeting us. So Mr. Matthew.
So if you now say Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen and he have been arrested, and it is a diplomatic issue if Britain want to offer him consular assistance. So I do not see it as a responsible agency of government deny him, Nnamdi Kanu, from signing just form to enable him get diplomatic assistance. So that best explains the reason a Sunday Igboho would not want to surrender himself to a system that have no respect for rule.
No, I just asked you. Let's be factual. If you're in Sunday, okay, you're not. You don't have a dual citizenship.
No, I don't have that.
You can't be in Sunday Igboho's shoe.
Okay.
But let's assume you have to advise in whichever way. Would you advise Sunday Igboho and the lawyers, irrespective of the agreement the Nigerian government will tender? Because you said you want the Nigerian government to convince everybody as the reason why it can.
My advice would have been this. I know
the
where
German government should come in. Would you advise Sunday Igboho to give himself for prosecution? Because some people are termed as persecution. That's
if you feel his rights will not be protected.
Obviously, he has said so.
As guaranteed by the Constitution, the right thing to do, he will ask to be allowed to stay in the country where he has decided to seek asylum. As at the time Nigerian system improves, that country can bring him here.
The Nigerian system improves?
Definitely, it can improve.
Okay.
It can improve beyond what we are seeing.
Okay.
But under the current scenario, it is difficult to say the man will get justice. It is difficult to say that the man's rights will be protected in custody. It is difficult to say the man will not be persecuted. Those are the issues we have in Nigeria.
Now, we're seeing the same scenario almost play out for Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu. In the case of Nnamdi Kanu, he was in the country. He went to court. He was kept in jail even after the court has pronounced that he should be released on bail. And reluctantly, he was given the
after
bail. several court orders.
Yes.
Now, while he was in his hometown, the same government who took him to court invaded his hometown with the military. They said he jumped bail. Now, in the case of Sunday Igboho, the DSS bombarded his house, killed 2. Adibini was among those who were shot and he died.
Perhaps they would have even denied that.
They would have denied that it was even the DSS, because before the DSS finally accepted that they were the ones.
Almost 2 days.
Almost 48 hours.
Yes.
So now, you would have just gone just like that. So now, the truth still remains that I haven't seen the tragedy of the scenarios, because there's a trend pattern the government has always been using in almost those cases, is one-way tactics. I don't think he and virtually those who are his advisors, even me, I can't advise him to give himself. I don't know, but I'm thinking.
It is on that basis we are calling on the German government, on Benue Republic.
Now that brings to another question. Do you think some of these developed nations really care about what happened in third world countries? Is it that is the result of the fact that they don't know that the political class of most of African nations and some nations of people most times do the wrong when they don't have anything to gain? Do they really interfere?
Even if they do not interfere when they don't have something at stake.
So,
but what we are saying, that is why it's good to remind them.
To
ask them.
Okay, to do what?
People are already saying it.
That.
And what we are already in a global village. The German embassy in Nigeria, in Benin Republic, would have known what is happening. I think his lawyers would have notified them in writing. If you understand, recently, the International Criminal Court of Justice already acknowledged petition written by Sunday Igboho and some others against Nigerian government approach to self-determination and the perceived persecution against personalities who are piloting the affairs of the self-determination. So to that extent, it is already in the front burner when it comes to international or global media. So to that extent, I think his team of lawyers should strategize and get German High Commission in Nigeria, in Benin Republic involved for the purpose of protecting his rights.
Okay, now in conclusion, looking at what do you see will come out of this? Because a situation whereby there's continuous hunting of secessionist agitators, have that tactics really worked?
It have not worked, and it
So
will,
what do you
it will
see?
not work. It will not still work. Because the problem is the government failed to realize that it is a thing of ideology. And if you want to fight it, you fight it from an ideological point of view.
So do you think?
And what is giving rise to
those within the government have this understanding, or probably
they have
they
pride
don't want
is the
to.
problem.
Pride.
Because yes, if you look at the underlying factor of the current crisis in Nigeria, it is Fulani that is igniting it. A Sunday Igboho did not just rise; he rose because of the activities of Fulani herdsmen that the federal government refused to check. Look at the formation of ESN. It was the activities of Fulani herdsmen that the federal government refused to check. So if you want to address agitation, you address the root causes of this agitation. Look at the supposed rally in Lagos. I read about some persons coming all the way from Osun
to come and participate in the rally. Yes,
and their reason was that they borrowed money for farming, and the herders have destroyed all their crops. They have no means of even repaying the loan. So for that reason, they believe in self-determination. They believe in Oduduwa's republic. So you can understand what I'm saying, that the government, they are not addressing the root cause. Now, we have a situation where Fulani herdsmen are operating freely in almost every strata of the society. Look at the systemic killing in Benue. Look at how they, even a Fulani group that goes by the name of Fulani Nationality Movement,
yes,
that claim responsibility in an attempted assassination of a sitting governor.
A sitting governor, chief security officer of a state.
Now, if the government is not addressing it, and people are reacting, and the reaction is they are calling for self-determination.
The government have said the governor should take charge. Is that
how do you want the governor to take charge? A situation where you do not allow state security arrangements to bear arm. The governor do not have security power.
No, the
governor only go by the name of.
The presidency said that such agitation should be pushed to the National Assembly.
That is a systemic way of, it's a clever way of trying to avoid the conversation.
Okay, Mr. Matthew, let us just, some of our viewers here, thank you for watching Flip TV, and especially for those of you who are able to make out your time for the pundit. Mr. Emeku Stola say, well done guys, keep the good work. Biafra freedom, Nigeria is a failed state. Okay, I think. Okay. Then Mr. Emeku, Nigeria is under the one and only popular known demonic religion, and we all know that the religion is false and evil. Oh Jesus, what religion is that? Don't want to mention the religion before you call it his having nothing to offer and terrorism and banditry. That is talking about Nigeria. Mr. Kuti 5, Nigeria is something else. Jesus, that some of our commentators are really wonderful people. Okay, Africa as a whole, Biafra freedom, Southern unite now. Biafra freedom, the time is now. Adijat Karim, Nigeria is failed country. Okay, I think Emeku Stola, Kuti 5, yes, you are right. Africa is a thing to really be worried about. Adijat Karim said, a country where your safety is not guaranteed. Okay, keep the comments coming. Keep the comment coming. Thank you for watching. And I think Sydney White, who is heading National Assembly, Fulani. Oh, okay. I think he's reacting to the statement where the presidency said that the passage of such agitation or the
directing people to go to
National Assembly.
But let me remind you something. Recently, federal government talked about amendment or review of 1978 Land Use Act. And federal government want to unilaterally review it without going to National Assembly. So the same federal government that is quick to remind people to go to National Assembly as the institution that have the mandate for constitutional review have failed to realize that if you want to deal with issue of Land Use Act, that there's an institution called National Assembly to tell you their gimmick, to tell you their hypocrisy.
Well, I think it is not new that we're having this kind of leaders from 1960, where I think personally, I feel we have more of ethnic warlords that uses the concept of what favors their ethnic group or maybe their religious alignment at that point to push for something. And when it comes to the other party, they switch ground and look for what is not the best practices in any part of the world. They lie, they use deception.
Okay, look at this issue of transmission of election results. To tell you that we have a political class that want to be in government by all means. Look at all the politics of trying to evade transmitting election results.
We've digressed totally from the case of Sunday Igboho. So conclusively, looking at the elite within the Southwest, how many of the elite have spoken up? That's another thing that is worrisome. But because it seems the elite, both the traditional rulers,
some persons are speaking up.
Yes, some, very few.
I can mention
a few.
Gani Adams.
Gani Adams has spoken up. Olushoyinka spoke.
I can mention the Nobel laureate.
Yes, has spoken in support of Sunday Igboho.
And some other persons.
Yes,
I can mention even Falana.
Has spoken up, but it's still an very minute number compared. I can mention more than there's hardly any university that don't have key traditional rulers figures, more than 100.
It's a good start. If you have some persons coming out boldly to speak against injustice. Because however I look at it, what Sunday Igboho stands for, it stands against injustice.
So is there more difference between Sunday Igboho agitation and that of Nnamdi Kanu?
If you look at, because that of Nnamdi Kanu started way back before Sunday Igboho. But generally speaking, it's as a result of marginalization.
But so are we seeing a unity in these guys between the Southeast and the Southwest on a supposedly agitation that they both never planned for? Because calculatively, what we normally see is that when maybe Southeast move the other way, the average Southwesterner sees it like...
because the issue is, the reason is not far-fetched. Because how they have a common problem.
Because
the way it stands, the Fulani activities, the herders activities is threatening the peace in the Southeast. The same way it's threatening the peace in the Southwest. That's why you can even see people in Benue supporting what is happening in the South
in general.
Thank you very much. So I think because they have a common problem.
So now, is it the reality that is catching up with the South generally? Because I think the
politics
of betrayal has always been dominated in the South. So are we heading somewhere with this, or we're still revolving?
Like around? I told you, I said it's because they have a common problem. And
no, they've always had common problem before now. Let's be realistic.
The Divide and Rule could not work now because it is between, you have a situation where people are being extrajudicially killed. Like the government likes to call them non-state actors taking over territories, killing, maiming, kidnapping, and all that.
Do you see?
And the government seems to be handicapped, or I don't know whether they're handicapped. The government seems to look the other way when these nefarious activities are being.
No, the government is not handicapped. If the government can go to Kenya to fish out personnel, and
that's why
the government can never be handicapped.
That's why I say they now choose to look the other way.
When some reason is best known to them.
So I think that best explains the reason we are seeing the harmonious relationship, or rather a similar move from the Southeast and the Southwest.
So now, does that have any implication looking forward to 2023?
It's a different ballgame.
Why is it different?
The reason is not far-fetched. Because the political class are the one that drives the process.
So I haven't seen,
the one that governs the process.
I haven't seen what happened during the NSAS. We've discussed this. And I haven't seen the quest and the agitation as it stands now. do the political class really, are they really rest
The
assured?
political class are not coming together for any reason on this basis.
Are you sure that they are rest assured that 2023 will just go in their usual way of?
Get what I'm trying to say? If you look at the voting pattern of, you may say I'm digressing, but I just want you to portray this point.
You can digress slightly.
The voting pattern of the e-voting, e-transmission of election results. You see that it followed party line, irrespective of what you suffer in your region. Now,
no, that was I'm
coming.
Mr. Mati, that was after there was a politicking
so
between
if somebody cannot,
members.
If somebody cannot,
because obviously before they went on recess,
what I'm trying to say now is, if somebody cannot rise above politics to vote according to what will benefit his people, what would engender free, fair, and credible election, then what I would say.
Okay, let's move over from the other headline. Enemies of Nigeria's progress opposing e-transmission of result. That's credited to INC. Let me just take some few lines. Yes, Nationality Congress. Now, the president of Ijaw National Congress, Professor Benjamin Okaba, has said that the rejection of electronic transmission of results by the National Assembly has exposed those who want Nigeria to remain backward and unworkable. He went further to say that during the formal opening of the office of the national spokesperson of the Ijaw Youth Council, Ebilade Ekerefe, as well as the commemoration of his 1 year in office, he described the shooting down of the amendment bill as anti-democratic, retrogressive, and pathetic, adding that fraudulent electoral processes had been the greatest challenge affecting the country from moving forward to the path of sustainable development. He also, Okaba, who teaches sociology at the Federal University Otuoke, said forces working against the country's progress were at work to continually protect and promote their selfish interest. Looking at this, what do you make of this? Because it's obvious that the prof is saying the obvious truth.
The truth is this. We have a political class that is afraid of free and fair election.
So how do we defeat that?
We have a political class that has conspired against democracy. Because free and fair election, rigging have no place in the principles of all the process of electoral campaign, voting, and collation of results. So if you have people who vehemently, through
openly
gimmicks, try to frustrate all effort to have free and fair election, it tells you that they are afraid of free and fair election. Now, what they succeeded in doing, which we pray do not stand, is to take away independence of INEC by subjecting INEC to the control, to the whim and caprices of NCC and National Assembly. And if you look at going forward, what we are expecting from National Assembly is a conference committee. And the conference committee will not go outside the resolution of the both chambers. And the resolution of the House of Rep and Senate is not near what the citizens are expecting. What we're expecting is specifics, giving INEC specific terms, in specific terms, asking that there shall be electronic transmission of election results, not where feasible, not resulting to NCC to determine where is feasible or not.
Then the
and
NCC
asking National Assembly to give approval.
Of politicians.
What that would do is you have a situation where an environment will be feasible for INEC to transmit election electronically. NCC. And if the government of the day is not comfortable or is not satisfied or is not sure of winning election in that area, they will now use their power, what they call of incumbency, to influence NCC to write a report that will say that area is not feasible to transmit the election result electronically.
And that's all.
And once that is done, INEC will handicapped. So they have now surrendered their independence to
National
NCC
Assembly
and National Assembly, which the Constitution never envisaged. Because when the constitution is talking about independence of INEC, it never envisaged a situation where they will not surrender that independence to National Assembly and NCC. So for me, it is a misnomer, and I encourage Mr. President to withhold assent.
No, the Mr. President will not withhold assent for such. We will not the bills. Mr. President will be very fast.
But posterity, how
these
people
people don't care about posterity. They don't have a life after politics. They don't care. As a former president, you're going to use escort. You have the army. So as soon as they leave office, it's fine. So if it was for posterity, Obasanjo is still working freely. So what has happened to him? So those people really don't care about posterity or whatsoever you say. They just believe that God keep them there. Whatsoever they do, God understands, and they just do and go. Because the question I would be asking is, I haven't seen the level of complaints from INEC, the citizenry in general. We still have a set of people in 2021 who openly, when the voice note was in support of going to remit the results electronically, manipulate the open system. So is that
but
not worrisome?
It's worrisome, I agree. And the worrisome...
is Nigeria going anywhere, Mr. Matthew, from what you've seen?
Nigeria is not yet going anywhere. Because if we have a situation where a national commissioner of INEC in charge of election information and education, first of Okoye,
even
has come out openly
former national,
to say that INEC do have the capacity to transmit the election result electronically, going by the stakeholder meeting they had, even with communication industry, the players in the communication industry. And it is quoted that even NCC before now have adjudged that Nigeria already have 2G and 70 to 80% coverage of Nigeria's landscape going by network and 2G and 3G network. So to that extent, NCC could come back to National Assembly to say that for purpose of election transmission electronically, that they only have about 50% coverage of network. The Nigerian landscape only have a right. They erred deliberately. So I think, and it's unfortunate that the people who should cause head to rule may be the one instigating or propelling them to do the wrong thing.
Now, in moving forward, Mr. Matthew, don't you see that the 2023 election, even before we get to 2023 election, is already characterized by the usual malpractice that normally plague the political electoral?
That is the unfortunate scenario we find ourselves. Because however I look at it, this government have a duty to deepen democracy. They have a duty to give us good laws, electoral acts that will usher in free, fair, and credible election. And this would have been an ample opportunity because Mr. President is no longer going to contest, going by the constitution his last tenure. Don't forget that when a Senate attempted to amend the Electoral Act, Mr. President returned the bill 3 times with some flimsy excuses. So we understood that he was going to contest, he was afraid of losing. But now that he's not going to contest, I think the best he can do for Nigeria is to give us a good electoral law that will usher in free, fair, and credible election. Because until you do that, you are not yet practicing democracy.
Well, before we move towards the other headline, let me just say a big thank you to our viewers as well as those who have sent in their comment. Okay, Biafra freedoms. I stand with Nnamdi Kanu. Free Nnamdi Kanu now. We have Kanis, Chukwocha. Southern unity is the key. Then I think, okay, freedom again coming by saying, who is killing the indigenous people? Fulani, jihadist tribe, no different. Chukwocha also said, the North is like the student who failed to study for exam, but raise false fire alarm to disrupt the exam. Oh, that's very dramatic in expression. Then I think Emiku Stola, tell me one thing you can boast of in Nigeria. Some people will say, I went to school for free for 3 months before. Absolutely nothing to boast for in Nigeria, nothing. Freedom says they both fight for one cause, which is freedom for their people. Okay, I think he's talking about Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho, which I glad to be one of the disciples of Ohomadiki, one of the universe. Okay, Biafra must come. I think Emiko was replying to, okay, Freedom was replying to Emiko. The Damebu Zoo is got nothing to offer rather than killing. Then Sydney White says, from 1960 to date, there's no election in Nigeria but selection. Fulani said there are 160 million people and the rest tribes is 70 million. They're moving away from that. I think, okay, freedom is Nigeria is fraud. Even the word fraud will be angry. Nigeria is hell. Please, Flip TV, if this message can get to the so-called presidency, tell the president, Buhari, the butcher, to come out and debunk Nnamdi Kanu that is alive. I will stop agitating for Biafra. Okay. Mr. Matthew, we've discussed some of the issues from the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu as well as Sunday Igboho. We've looked at the headline concerning the voting pattern, which some have debunked. The INC said is those who don't want Nigeria to progress, which I personally feel that they're saying the truth. Where are we heading to? That's another question I want to ask you before we move on to the third headline. Because the third headline is really not interesting. It's just the third headline says Zamfara deputy governor gets relief. Court stop alleged impeachment. So if you're a deputy governor, you need to follow the powers that be. So you must always be a puppet in the hand of the government. What kind of political system are we practicing?
But it's unfortunate. I do not know how that governor will be protected. The reason I'm saying it is this.
The deputy governor will be protected.
Yes, I mean the deputy governor. I do not know how he will be protected. Because if you look at Nigerian system, there's little you can do if the power that be do not support you. Look at all the cases of impeachment of whether the governor or the deputy that have ever succeeded in Nigeria. It has always been the power that be. In fact, it is very difficult to impeach a governor or deputy if the presidency or the government in power at the national is not in support of it. Now, look at the politics of Zamfara State. Don't forget that APC already won an election in Zamfara State.
Yes, because of court.
Before the court, in its wisdom, handed over the mandate to PDP. Because of the way and manner APC conducted their internal affairs before the election. Now, even if the deputy governor want to fly the flag of PDP in 2023, it's understood that APC is the dominant party on ground in Zamfara State. But all I'm saying, normally should not take away his right whether to defect or not to defect. Because he may choose to finish as deputy governor of the state and retire to his house. So if that is his decision, he should be protected by the constitution. Because I don't think holding a rally in Zamfara State against the backdrop of the decision of the House of Assembly to invite him, questioning him about the volatile nature of the state and holding rally, I don't think that is a justifiable reason to even initiate an impeachment process. Though the House of Assembly have not come out openly to say they want to initiate an impeachment process, but it's a case of the owl, an owl cry in the night. The following morning, a child drops dead. I don't think you need to start asking questions. I think that's the reason the guy have run to Abuja to obtain a court injunction restraining the House of Assembly from commencing or initiating impeachment process. However, I look at it, it's a matter of time. We are going to see litigation upon litigation, and they will eventually initiate impeachment process. The same governor and deputy who have been living like father and son, we have not had any issue. Simply because the governor defects to another political platform, which he has right anyway, and the deputy governor equally have right to decide to remain in PDP. So I don't think that should, in the first place, be an issue.
So don't you feel something is wrong with the way Nigerians, or probably the black generally, place their politics?
Something is fundamentally wrong, because if I were to be in the shoes of Matawale, I will allow the man to be. Because one,
no, it happened in Ondo State as well.
Yes.
And the deputy was there.
Yes, like as I have said, APC is more popular in that state, judging by the result of the last election, general election. Secondly, the governor moving most of the House of Assembly members and some good number of PDP members, it has not added to the numerical strength of APC in that state. So by our standard, APC is a party to beat anytime, any state. You don't have the support or the power that be at the national. And we know how impunity works in Nigeria. We know how tyranny works in Nigeria. So if they can deploy that against the governor, I don't see how he will survive it. And it's unfortunate.
Now, so which means we run a system whereby even when the wrong act is obvious, we must support it, and everybody must.
Like I've said, it's unfortunate because I don't see who will protect him. The law would have protected him if we have a sane society where rule of law prevails.
No, let's move over, because we don't have a sane society. Let's move over to Anambra State, and with the airline, court affirms Soludo Uba candidacy, drops PDP Igboho. Now, looking at that, we're almost still parabolating on something similar.
You know, this is going to teach our politicians
the headlines of court injunction, has the political class ever learned lessons from 1999? If
you look at that of Anambra State, we are yet to see the last of the litigations that will come out of political activities leading
in Anambra State.
Yes, leading to that gubernatorial election. But I can understand that, like I said earlier on, this is going to teach politicians lesson. We're going to have a situation where politicians operate with impunity. What I'm saying is not restricted to any political party. Whether the PDP, APC, ABGA, name it, Nigerian politician will always operate with impunity if you know that he'll have his way and get away with it. We have a situation where there was a court injunction stopping a political party from conducting delegate election or from using a particular venue for delegate election. For reasons best known to the leadership of the party, they ignored the court order and went ahead to conduct the delegate election in that particular location. And the person who feel aggrieved have now gone back to court to ask court to void the result that came out of that
because there was
Congress.
A court judgment,
because there was a deviance, the people that
act.
Yes, to the court order. So for me, like I said, that we are yet to see the last litigation, and that this is perhaps going to teach politicians lesson.
Politicians have not learned any lesson.
What I'm trying to say in essence is,
because
wrongly or rightly.
Sorry, we saw what happened in Bayelsa, Anambra. So I don't think they are learning.
But I think they want to learn in a bitter way. Because however I look at it, if a court says keep this phone here, the court may be wrong by our standard, looking at the premises surrounding it. But what you need to do is to go back to that court, to ask that court to vary that judgment. Or you go to a court of higher jurisdiction to try to upturn it. But we are seeing a situation where in Nigeria, a high court will give order in Bayelsa. The man who is not comfortable will come to Lagos to meet a court of coordinate jurisdiction of equal power, trying to obtain another counter order. And if you are going to another court of the same jurisdiction to void what a court of coordinate jurisdiction have done, it's not going to work. You need to go to a superior court or go back to that same court to other court to vary that judgment. And Nigerian politicians are used to this. So, like I said, we are yet to see the last. I commend INEC in this circumstance. Because what INEC is doing is they are obeying the last order. If you go to court now, you obtain court injunction, you serve it on INEC. INEC will rely on that and obey it. If the other man obtain another court injunction, serve it on INEC, INEC will rely on that and take their decision. So INEC is being honorable in this circumstance.
Okay, let's move over to the aide to the presidency. He says result transmission, no plan to rig 2023 election. Maybe I should use this avenue categorically to tell the presidential aide personally that Nigerians, majorly most people, cut across social media network and the walk of life, and have concluded that for any human born of a man to say transmission of election result is not feasible in Nigeria, is planning
It's
to
a preparation for rigging.
Is preparation for rigging. I think that statement is credited to Babafemi Ojudu. I think Babafemi Ojudu.
He's the political advisor to Mr. President.
Yes,
I understand. However, I look at it.
So it's a clear statement of rigging plan.
However, I look at it, I saw the failed attempt of the Senate President, the President of Ahmed Lawan, to force himself into the good book of the public by trying to justify the position of Senate with respect to the voting. It doesn't, you have taken your decision, and we have seen all the premises before you arrive at your
conclusion
resolution. We have seen the umpire maintaining a position. So the umpire have been honorable enough, patriotic enough to present their position before the whole world. We have seen an agency of government that is speaking from both sides of his mouth. I mean NCC. Because I'm just saying, I'm presenting all the facts for people to evaluate.
No,
but what I'm saying is, we have seen an NCC in the past.
Like some of us.
I'm coming. We have seen an NCC in the past that have come out to tell the world that going by 2G and 3G, that Nigeria already has between 80 and 70% network coverage. We are only seeing the same NCC coming to National Assembly for purpose of clarity to give National Assembly direction, telling National Assembly that what they have is just about 50% coverage, network coverage. So for me, that was misleading. So it doesn't matter what the political advisor tried to say. Nobody can launder the image of National Assembly or the presidency on this. The only way they can do it is to revert to the popular opinion of election transmission electronically.
But Mr. Matthew, were you expecting that because sometimes when conspiracy theories becomes a fact, that some people make conspiracy theory that looking at the leadership structure of the Senate, the House of Rep, the party alignment, the NCC, dominantly, if you look at it critically, they are from one section of the country and one religious belief, and probably falls under same party belief. Although some people might argue that the INEC is not biased and so many other arguments, which is okay. But having said that, the NCC, with its leadership structure in person of Pantami, so also is the Senate in person of Ahmed Lawan from a particular point, from a region of the country, just like Pantami from a region of the country, just like the presiding officer of the House of Rep, which happened to be Idris Wasi, from the same part of the country, same religion.
The deputy speaker.
The deputy, he was the one that presided. Femi Gbajabiamila kept quiet. He was trying to be clever by half, not to really get himself involved in all sincerity what actually transpired in the house. He was sitting. So, in looking at the figures of the people who played critical role in this subject of conversation, their body language, their region, and their religion, were you really thinking that it will fly, or the NCC will come out to support the position of, in as much as I gave it to INEC, saying the obvious fact that they've tried some elections whereby the use of electronic device in terms of sit with the NCC, the National Assembly led by Ahmed Lawan and Idris Wade, even Femi Gbajabiamila, whoever preside from the House of Rep. Do you really think they were going to accept a transmission of election results by electronic?
The truth is this.
Because
about,
before the sitting, the people speculate. In fact, I'm part of those who said no. It's
not about whether I fit. Because if you look at
looking at the trend analysis on what they have been standing for. If you place 10 things subject of conversation as it stands now, and let us write on a secret sheet of paper and keep it, let them deliberate on whatever subject of conversation they want to deliberate. Like maybe say on Thursday, they are going to deliberate on 10 conversation. Let's write the permutation of what their outcome will look like and keep somewhere. You will notice that people will write exact thing they will come out to present at the end of the day. So many people were not really believing that what they came up with was...
I quite agree with you that before the voting, looking at their body language, you can extrapolate the outcome of the voting. But the situation have prevented defend their position. Ordinarily, the Senate President, the Speaker of House of Rep, the presidency will not be busy traditional statements. It tells you that they are not comfortable with the criticism they are receiving. So to that extent, it tells you that criticism have a way of correcting the wrong.
How has it corrected the wrong? Because it was in this country, Twitter was banned and so many critics and we keep quiet. That is the average Nigerian. When you shout after 1 week or 2 weeks, life goes on. So do you think
if criticism have no role to play, the presidency will not be speaking, trying to justify their position. National Assembly.
That was also the
National
way
Assembly. National Assembly will not be speaking.
Mr. Matthew, that was how the same in terms of Twitter, and Twitter is still banned, and everybody has kept quiet about that. It's gone.
No, you are not getting it right. The issue is this: if the way it stands, if people were not able to use VPN to bypass network and still use Twitter, it would have been a different ballgame. The reaction would have been different from what we are seeing. And Twitter on its own knows that Nigeria is of interest to it. Twitter initially initiated talk with federal government. So we continue demanding that they do the right thing. And until they do the right thing, we will continue pressing it on them that they should do the right thing. However I look at it, people are using Twitter in Nigeria.
Okay. Twitter
prospect is not being affected the way it stands. And the government would have gone further to make good their threat to start. For me, criticism is playing a role in Nigeria.
Okay, moving away from that, another news that has also characterized the political scene in the last couple of days. Governor Otom is always in the news, and not all. He recently said unfair to stop Nnamdi Kanu, Igboho, why armed herders are not checked. So he was saying that it is not justice for you to go against Nnamdi Kanu as well as Mr. Sunday Adeyemo, Sunday Igboho. Why you openly? I mean, the bandit just shot the Air Force jet fighter, and nothing has happened. The intelligence unit,
if you look at
the DSS has not come up to give any statement. The army intelligence have not come out to say they've caught the bandit, but they can travel that far to other parts of the world. Is it selective justice system is what they use?
The issue, and, the issue is this: if you look at Benue, it's strategic in Nigeria, going by the land resources. And if you look at the activities of herdsmen, Benue happened to be the epicenter of the crisis of herders and host communities. That must explain the reason it's Benue State that first of all promulgated a law that bans open grazing.
Yes.
And in this recent incident that happened, the governor said one of his relatives, I think a 200 level student of the state university, was among the people who were killed by herders. And that when they tried to call the phone number of the man that was killed, that the person that picked the phone was asking them to tell the governor to repeal the law against open grazing. That is a panacea for peace in the state. So I think you can understand why the governor is outspoken. Because it's like there's an injustice, there's an imbalance. The non-state actors, like the federal government would like to call them, have taken over the territories of Benue State. And the federal government is not forthcoming in protecting lives and property. Like the governor will always say, he said, until the government do the needful to protect the people, that they will not stop speaking against injustice. So, like as I have told you, the common situation in the southeast and the southwest that have brought the two together and make it look as if they are fighting a common front, a common that is the same common problem that have presented itself in Benue State. And however you look at it, federal government have a responsibility to protect the people, whether in Benue, whether in Lagos, whether in Ekiti, whether in Delta, whether in Enugu, whether in Meduguri, name it, is a mandate that behooves on federal government to carry out. And when and where is not forthcoming, as a citizen, you are justified to express your reservation and to express your sadness against the federal government inability or unwillingness to protect you. We have had instances where some people were kidnapped. There's even a viral video where a lady was crying out that she was kidnapped, taken to a ritual den in Rivers State, that in her presence, they killed some people, butchered them.
Yes, true. To kill 2 people.
That even somebody who had asthma, who needed a inhaler, that she even offered whether they could get assistance to buy her inhaler. He said the person died on her laps. So is that bad? So wherever, anywhere you look to, is it even Abuja, where even recently a military general was assassinated? So it is a normal thing for a patriotic citizen like the governor of Benue State to speak up against injustice, especially when the government that is saddled with the responsibility of protecting the people is not forthcoming in doing it.
Okay, moving away from that, there's a news recently, I think it happened in Apapa as a result of Apapa Gridlock. Says security personnel and hoodlum clash as a result of extortion.
Who should collect
revenue? You know how
is it not funny?
But
I think the non-state actors, they want to legitimize the activities. Because for them to come out in the open to challenge considered authorities, considered institution, like the police and some other security agencies, to challenge them on who should collect revenue. And I choose to call it revenue, but it's extortion anyway. What I'm trying to say is they want to legalize their own activities. Because if we even have a sane society, should the police even be extorting people?
That's where I'm driving at that. Some of these, we call them hoodlums. They are not called hoodlums. They have a coded name they use. They are called the citizens. There's a name someone told me, said they are the real citizens. That those who can confront the systemic apparatus are called the real citizens. Where some of these real citizens or senior citizens, where the senior citizens can, in bus stop, they tell police, no, move that car from there, our boss, like the vehicle they want to extort money from, want to, and the police will move the vehicle. I've seen countless scenarios in Lagos where some of these boys stand with their Indian hem, and the police, they collect maybe 1,000, give police 300 of fund. They take the higher percentage. Yes, well, maybe if you call it pastor, it's a crime. They take the higher percentage and tell the police to calm down. In fact, sometimes
because the police know that they are going to benefit from it.
No, sometimes there are. If police are trying to enforce law to arrest, sometimes in traffic.
No, police will not even try to arrest.
No, in some spot, those boys come to enforce the law better than the police itself. I've seen a scenario whereby a traffic warden stopped the vehicle passed the traffic light, and the driver decided not to stop. The boys came and stop the vehicle for the traffic. I'm telling you. So the vehicle, knowing that these boys might remove the side mirror or what, stopped.
Their process of
Enforcement
is more draconian.
So
and it's more.
And I looked at the whole scenario. So is it not worrisome that for it to get to a level whereby they are confronting those in government, because they might have known that that is not your legitimate duty you're being paid for. So is it not sending a signal that our force and security apparatus are turning themselves to a baby mockery apparatus or security network, whereby those they are supposed to regulate are the ones even...
You see, it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation. It is no longer a news that almost all the security agencies in Nigeria, they extort money from citizens. Even the people who work in ministries, to get their job done, they make Nigerians to pay for the services for which they already been paid by taxpayers' money. So it is a function of the way it stands. Anywhere you find yourself, whatever service you render, whoever you have interface with, you try to exploit the person. And the only way you can salvage the situation is to have a system where people get to position through legitimate means, where the man who wants to win election as a councillor, as a local government chairman, as a House of Rep member, as a senator, as a president, will get there without buying his way. Because the man who pay to secure job have already have that impression that that is the way things work. So anybody looking for his services must pay. So the man who pay to get to House of Assembly, the man who pay to get to the Senate, to House of Rep, as the case may be, we always want something in return to render the service is already been paid for. So the only way we can have sanity in the system is to engender free, fair, and credible election.
Okay, let me take some of the comments from our viewers. I think the last comment I stopped at, I think, was the statement from Biafra, freedom. And I think, okay, he also sent another message, Emeka. Okay, we all know that the name Nigeria have border with hell without being told. Okay, I think Emeku Stola said, one child in Germany gets 210 euros monthly for child support until 18 years, or sometimes 21. That is 110,000 naira. But just take a look at some primary school. But one senator takes it all. Wow. It would be good to give birth to children in Germany. Well, Kutify said, listening to Nigerian politicians, sometimes you ask yourself, are you still okay? Then Meme Kustola said, you guys must be, okay, was laughing. You don't know what to say. Electronic voting in Nigeria. NEPA don't improve. I think it was just trying to mock maybe the life situation if you're talking about electronic voting. I don't think we were talking about electronic voting, Mr. Matthew. I think we were talking about the transmission of the result that would have been voted manually.
No, look at what this person is saying.
No, I'm driving there.
Okay. No, the last person talking about Sunday Igboho.
Okay, yes, that it has been released. I'm coming. He said, this person said, if we don't fight for our right now, it's going to be never. Nigerians were hungry, and all he's doing is borrowing money for rail to Niger. Is that the duties and responsibilities of a good leader? Then Hybrid said, I don't think Mr. Matthew and Mr. F. Young like each other very much. Okay. I sense there is mutual pride. Wow. Okay. One trying to exert their dominance over the other in terms of aptitude. Jesus. Okay, that's funny. Okay, Hybrid 1. Let us correct the
impression. Yes.
Well, in as much as we deliberate, there are issues. Maybe because
we can disagree.
We can disagree on some issues, and when there is a superiority of argument based on facts,
Yes,
we
yes.
also fall in line and
Yes,
we move
I'm
on. There is
fine, yes,
nothing
of
like
course.
a mutual pride. What is whichever way, it's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Sunshine Forever says, guys, please confirm me Sunday Igboho has been released. Another Akinola Samo said, I'm seeing it to line that Sunday Igboho has been released and is on his way to Germany. Akinola Samo said, please, we need a true confirmation. Why greetings to you guys from Germany. Hey, Akinola Samuel is in Germany, and as soon as you see Sunday Igboho in Germany, please endeavor to give us
We
the
will need to.
latest update. But whichever way, from our studio, we've not gotten any breaking news regarding Sunday Igboho. The last message we had on the social media platform was said that was the message from Professor Akintoye,
Who acknowledge that?
who acknowledged that the Benin Republic might not release Sunday Igboho for extradition to Nigeria. So that was the news we had last regarding the case of Sunday Igboho. And the
We are
lawyers,
still at liberty to check updates.
yes, well, and the lawyers of Sunday Igboho have been contacted, I think, in person of Olajengbisi, Palumi Olajengbisi, and he categorically said that he's going to give Nigerians an update regarding Sunday Igboho's situation. So as it stands now, we've not gotten any recent update while we're still in studio regarding Sunday Igboho. If you check online from all the platforms, the last update we had was about an hour ago before we started this session, and there was no news towards its release. But it's possible maybe the frontline media houses have probably not gotten the update. So that was the last update we had regarding the case of Sunday Igboho. So, but as soon as we get a new update regarding to that, we'll let you know. So, Mr. Matthew, let's move over to a news whereby, as a result of the arrest of Sunday Igboho, some people have alleged that there's fear in Southwest, and there was a security update report that was circulating in the media, some of the media houses, that people are being cautioned to know where to stay and places to attend and stuff like that. What do you make of this? Is tension already building?
I don't think there will be protests.
Okay. What about arresting people?
The only thing I see is the way and manner he's being treated, whether he will be extradited to Nigeria. The way they handle it will determine whether there will be subsequent protests or not. But the way it stands, I do not envisage any protest for now, because it is not Nigerian government that arrested him. Nigerian government will be approaching Benin Republic government for purpose of extraditing him to Nigeria, and his team of lawyers will be objecting it. So the way it is handled going forward, but I do not see a spontaneous protest as a result of the arrest. But what we are saying is, whether, however I look at it, he is innocent until proven otherwise by any court of competent jurisdiction. It doesn't matter the allegation you have levied against him. The law presumes him innocent until proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction. So to that extent, if Nigerian government is presenting their case for purpose of extraditing into Nigeria, and his team of lawyers will be arguing that his rights may not be protected in Nigeria, that he may be persecuted, so they will strike a balance and determine whether he should be allowed to come to Nigeria for purpose of prosecution. So for me, I don't envisage any protest for now.
Okay. Moving away from that, there's an headline which says from Huriwa, that's Human Rights Rectors Association, that the spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force should be prosecuted because he gave a different report, as at the time the Air Force jet fighter was shot down, and later, subsequently, when another report broke out which contradicts his stand. So what do you think about that? Because the military, they've been accusation that they tend to conceal some of this information when the true picture ordinarily is far higher in terms of casualty figure, the true picture of what really transpired. And on the second thought, why has the military not openly told us, "Oh, we've arrested these people, the DSS is not saying anything, we have intelligence units of the military, we have the Department of State Service, we have the Criminal Investigation Department, we have the Counter-Terrorist Unit, CTU, we have the Special Fraud. How are these guys getting? Do you know what it means to shoot? You don't use the normal AK-47 to drop an anti-aircraft jet. Yes. So maybe because those of us who are privileged to talk to one or two military people, you need a special kind of ammunition to drop, and the distance the anti-aircraft jet would have been flying, AK-47 cannot drop such a jet. So it means
it cannot be AK-47.
So except you're using maybe a sophisticated weapon, maybe a rocket launcher or RPG or an AA. So how do these guys get this ammunition? How do these guys get this funding to import or transport this ammunition? So what are our intelligence doing? Because if the intelligence that can nab Nnamdi Kanu in far Kenya and a Sunday Igboho in Cotonou, what are they doing? Or is it also true, based on conspiracy theory, that according to Sheikh Gumi, that the security are the ones, the army, navy, the police, the DSS, aiding the bandits? So we cannot take over this conjecture away, because we're seeing evidence of a problem that don't seem to be solved. From Boko Haram, they term it bandits. Mr. Matthew, are we not in a dilemma in this country?
The issue is this. If you look at the spokesman of Nigerian Air Force, Abinisho, she tried to deny that there was any case of such crash of the Alpha jets. But before, even as at the time he was denying, in social media and other media, online platforms,
yes,
already have the information that that bandits brought down a Nigerian Alpha jet. Now, he later realized, I don't know why he later decided to accept that actually there was a crash involving a Nigerian Alpha jet. I think it is Nigerian Air Force is trying to absorb itself or trying to shield itself from ridicule. Haven't realized that it is like a shame for people you call ragtag, people you call non-state actor,
people who are not trained,
will be bringing down an Alpha jet, a fighter jet. I think that must explain the reason he found it difficult to accept ab initio. But however you look at it, you cannot take away the fact. Good 18 are happy for the pilot who escaped unhurt. But I don't think the government have done enough. Because if you claim, and talking about the presidency now, that these criminals who go about disturbing regular society, that there are headers who come from Mauritania, from Libya, from Niger, and some other African countries, who have the responsibility to man the border. So that is where the government should take federal government should take the whole blame. Because we have immigration, who should control who come in and who should not come in. At the time, we saw how federal government declares Zamfara a no-fly zone. And a no-fly zone by our standard has to do with restricting particular category of aircraft from flying. And we have instances where even some traditional rulers have alluded to the fact that there are reports of some aircraft coming to drop one or two things for these criminals. So I think the federal government have not done enough, considering the enormous resources are available at the disposal of the federal government, considering the money that have so far been voted for to fight insurgency, to fight banditry, and all that. I think they have not done enough. Because if you even look at intelligent gathering, I don't think they have done enough. If you look at driving the process through technology, I don't think they have done enough. So for me, I think there's a need for the government to go back to the drawing board and see what they are not getting right for the purpose of enhancing efficiency and the fight against banditry.
So now, what because is it not worrisome that the spokesperson of some of these um, military agencies, the police, the army, the DSS, the navy, immigration, when issues happen, they tell you something else, and before you know, they come back and portray the reality on ground will contradict their statement. Is it not worrisome that it's becoming a pattern, a norm, whereby you really cannot take them even when they're saying the truth? People were now used to the fact that don't mind the military, they're always lying. Even some people, if you're close to some people within the military, they'll tell you the casualty figure is almost times 3 of what you saw. It's a lie.
Because we have a system, a government that have succeeded in making the people an opposition to the government. We have a system where there's already breach of trust between the government and the governed. Look at what transpired at Lekki Togate. Look at all the denial of the government about whether they did not send military in the first place. It was only when there was overwhelming evidence that the military actually went there before they accepted that actually military men were deployed. Even as we speak, they have not accepted that there was shooting, that they used live bullets. Even as we can see pictorial evidence and even video evidences of activities that happened that night of that incident. So I think it's we have seen a government that has succeeded in polarizing the citizens, a government that has succeeded in creating mistrust between the government and the governed. So I don't think, going by the current scenario, I don't think there's much the government can do until they go back to the drawing board and correct most of the anomalies that is making us to witness this failure in leadership, failure in the fight against insurgency, and all that.
Okay, let's move away from that. There's a viral video that is trending on the internet whereby Ghanaian youths were given a bag of rice, and they openly rejected it and told the political class to go and get them a job opportunity. Looking at that in contrast, in comparison to what happened in this part of the world, where people openly will even ask for 1,000 naira to vote during election, we've seen situations whereby people are given 500 naira, 1,000 to support and protest, not even election this time around, to protest for maybe some set of people, political class, for subject of conversation they probably might not even be convinced about. Is poverty a key factor to our level of underdevelopment and the attitude of the Nigerian political landscape? There's a recent survey I was reading, it's an article online, that ranked Ghanaian citizenry when it comes to the voting and the questions they ask their political office holder much more critical and sane by holding their political office holder accountable than even Nigeria. In fact, I think Rwanda, one of the African, very small African, was ranked ahead of Nigeria. So are we really giants in Africa? We're giants in some other things when it comes to corruption and terrorism.
We are giant in population one. We are giant in political gimmick and ruse. We are giant in not subjecting the government, not obeying the rule of law. So, but looking at the video in question, I've watched that video anyway. If the video is anything to go by, if it's real, I think it's the right way to go. Because what you can hear from at the background is people telling them that what they need is a job.
Yes, true.
Not rice.
No rice.
If they have the job, they can buy
rice for themselves. Yes.
So to that extent, I think whether the video is real or not, whether it was acted, whether they acted it, I think Nigerian society need to be sensitized. Nigerian electorates,
Mr. Matthew,
Nigerian citizens
sorry.
need to be sensitized.
Who is sensitizing who? That's another question.
You as a person, you have a responsibility to sensitize people within your own jurisdiction.
Let me even come again. From 1999, so it means we've still not been sensitized. People have not been sensitized.
Sensitization is a
continuous
continuous process. It doesn't have to stop.
Let me just take some of the messages. Mr. Akinola Samuel says, okay, I think that was the last message. Greetings to you guys from Germany. Thank you very much, Mr. Akinola. Then Mr. Abraham Moses said, I'm just coming to greet you guys from Qatar, Doha. Oh, that's very lovely. Thank you very much. Samuel Unan says, good morning. Okay, I think we are in the evening. There's a time difference. We need to form a third party and have 80 million Nigerian youths join a third party to get APC and PDP out. You guys can see fraud. The National Assembly did on election fraud. Okay, I think election transmission fraud. Then I think Mr. Tola said, Moses, welcome. Waiting you find, go there, Doha. Now Boko Haram pick. Okay. Dele Amedu says the Buhari government will be disgraced out of office. Hybrid say Buhari is acting with impunity while Moses Abraham, Mr. Matthew. Okay, I think he was just trying to. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Abraham. Justice League said this storm Buhari is brewing will drone him and his followers. Sunshine Forever said, it's confirmed Igboho is free. Wow. We in diaspora are more updated than you guys in Zoological Republic. Jesus.
No, who is the guy?
I think it's Sunshine Majek.
Ask him to share the link.
Yes, you can as well share the link on the comment page
for
so that we
confirmation.
can, yes, because we've tried to, even one of our
all the major
national headlines and our correspondent even outside the platform have not given us a feedback. There are times if we've gotten any new updates,
so you can
as well share the
link
on the page on the comment
for purpose
section.
Of clarity.
Yes, and you know we are in Nigeria. We will go and
maybe we need a VPN
to override some news. And you know, you will probably go and say some things and Mr. Sunday or Miss Sunday Magic probably will need to help us get a lawyer from Germany to. Okay, let's move on quickly. We have another Emekus. Nigeria don't have government. Expect nothing from Nigeria. We only have looters. Okay, no disrespect. You guys are doing a lot from London. Oh, thank you very much. Magic, no need to apologize. Nigeria is Jesus. Okay. Justice League, what drawing board Boko Haram cannot give what he doesn't have? Charles Uyi, Nnamdi Kanu arrested, Sunday Igboho arrested, Bandi are busy eating ram suya after bringing down Nigerian NAF Alpha Jet. Samuel Onang, this is the only way to get APC. Yes, that's a good recommendation, Mr. Matthew, to form a third party with 80 million youth to get APC and PDP out of power. The young quality presidential candidate, Adioba Nuga, hello. It's true that Sunday Igboho has been released and gone his way to Germany. Adioba from Chicago, USA. Well, I think the news.
I'm checking point now. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's not on our national dailies. We're not disputing that fact with you, but we're really not getting an update from any of the national online. And our in-house correspondent are still online and they're checking. So as soon as we get the update, we will share. But it's also possible it might be up on some other social platform, maybe in Benue Republic, that probably might have covered it. So it's possible, and you guys from there can view that it's possible. So and if it's not within any of our national, there's no Mr. Adioba would send him money to come and build some. Magic says we are giants in killing innocent citizens. Wake up, Nigerian youth. You can do it. Stop sleeping. Wake up. Let's get APC and PDP out. Mindset mentor Samuel and Mr. Akinola, extremely well done, guys. To Nigeria, did Igboho skip bail? If so, it is not proper to arrest him. Okay. To Nigeria came with another another point of argument here. Alaji Kisco, well done, stars from Athens. Thank you very much, Alaji. Nigeria is a complex state, and we need to keep having this complex conversation, hopefully to find a way to forge ahead. Yes, it's true. We need to have more of such robust conversation. Thank you very much, Mindset Mentor. Humble Africa, nice one from Dallas. Thank you guys for your comments and for your observation. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you. Now, Mr. Machi, I haven't said that, although we're still looking for the news of Sunday Igboho jetting to Germany. Let's look at this. Last but not the least, there were some good Samaritan, the villagers that help the young uh, pilot to escape. So, what do you make of this? Some of them we are not even looking at some of the action of some of the military in the past couple of days, and because directly and indirectly, the military, one way or the other, have also supported the government in killing the peaceful protesters in some part of the country, including
those are the patriotic Nigerians.
Wow. Okay.
But and again, if you look at effort of Nigerian Air Force to rescue the pilot, I don't think they were forthcoming in initiating the process of rescuing him. It was until, in fact, the villagers that kept the pilot waited for daybreak, took him to the state headquarters, from where they contacted a possible Air Force base that flew into 2 aircraft to pick him up. And I don't think up to now, because the Air Force is silent on whether he was a lone occupant of that
or not,
or whether there was a co-pilot, or whether there was a technical crew. They are silent on that. But I think it is not professional to say that you have only one pilot in an aircraft.
How rational does that sound?
To that extent, I think if they had another occupant, federal government or the Nigerian Air Force in collaboration with other sister agencies, paramilitary agencies, have a responsibility of doing the needful to go and rescue, or possibly, in fact, to go and visit the scene of the crash. I don't know whether they've done that, but what I'm trying to say is I do not even see that conscious effort from Nigerian Air Force to even initiate the process of rescuing this pilot before the residents who happen to rise to the occasion to protect and subsequently handed him over to Nigerian government. Now, for what I can understand, the villagers said they spotted the bandits going around the wreckage, looking for survival. Something fundamentally wrong with the approach of the government in addressing this banditry. Because if the villagers could spot them in maybe going around and supervising the crash site, then I think the federal government should step up the activity in the fight against banditry.
Okay, conclusively, there was an headline, I think it was a Facebook link that was on, and there's also another news going around which is political, and another figure also argued in some of the Facebook page I had to listen to an audio and also a video recently, that there was an agreement by President Muhammadu Buhari to hand over power to the national leader of the party in person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is Nigeria a making, or the post of the president a making or a decision that should be subjected to such a secret arrangement? Where are we heading to in this part of the world?
I think that statement is accredited to the former chairman of CPC.
In person of anger.
Yes. But for me, I think it should not be a Nigerian issue. As human beings, you have liberty to enter into agreement with anybody. But that agreement, however you look at it, is not binding on APC, is not binding on Nigeria. But as far as I'm concerned, Tinubu have rights
to contest.
He's eligible to contest.
And the president.
But the president his tenure will elapse in
2023.
2023. So the president have no right to say he want to hand over Nigeria to an individual, because Nigeria is not his personal business. So to that extent, if they actually had an agreement clandestinely or whatever means, they should handle it on the basis of their personal relationship. They should not bring it into national discourse, because Nigeria do not belong to Muhammadu Buhari.
Okay, so Mr. Matthew, let's just take some of the comment while we'll just summarize. Mr. Samuel Unang says there should be a youth party, which I think you said something, yes, which youth should participate and register a reasonable number so that they can push out this kind of set of political elite away from the system.
I'm in agreement with that.
Now, but in looking at the reality, there was a party in the last election. We had about 5 major parties. We have Obi Okwizili, Fela Durote, Ishowore was in that election. There was a Kingsley Mowalu. Personally, I think I had personally, I believed in more of Kingsley Mowalu and Fela Durote when it comes to their postulations and their manifesto. I had to take time to read all their manifesto. In fact, it was looking as if I was doing a project work or a thesis or a defense. So, but it was difficult for these young people to accept who should go. And you are going to have splitted votes. If everybody, you have 5 youthful candidates coming out, don't you think so? So it was difficult for them to harness the house and push for maybe 1 or 2 candidates. That's another problem on its own. So what do you think? How reasonable will we achieve this? You mentioned NSAS.
But what I'm trying to say now is, beyond the youths who stepped forward in during 2019 election to fly flag of some parties for the purpose of vying for the presidential election. Beyond that, I think what is paramount is, how do you galvanize the youths to create awareness, to make the youth to own the process of ushering in a candidate to be supported by the youths. It's not just enough to say you had a youth who flew the flag of a particular political party in 2019 election. If the process that ushered that youth in didn't carry the youth along, they were not sensitized, they were not aware, they are not likely going to vote. We are looking at a situation where the youth will be sensitized and they will own the process of registration. Now, INEC had open the process of registering eligible voters. So we want a situation where the youth will own the process, will personally be motivated to go and register for the purpose of voting. Having achieved that, when the election comes, people who are interested will obtain nomination form, expression of interest, as the case may be, and will look at their manifesto. So what I'm trying to say is, let us have a system where the awareness will be created, where the youth will own the process, where the youth will personally be motivated, where the youth will now believe that with my mandate, with your mandate, we can usher in a president, we can usher in a governor. Until we get there, it's not just about a youth rushing to form a political party and picking a ticket of a political party. That will not usher in the change we are looking at.
Okay, so looking at this, because in as much as we're profiling solutions and we've seen the political class, they're probably not doing what the people want them to do. The processes of achieving some of these things, don't you think finance would be a critical challenge for some?
Finance is ordinarily a challenge that you have said, but if the youths unanimously,
just like NSAS,
yes, the fund will not be an issue, because you see people volunteering and fund will be coming from different dimension, from different angles, from different personalities.
Okay, before I take your final thoughts, let me take some of the messages that have been popping in. I think we'll stop that. Mr. Okay, Mindset Mentor says Samuel and Mr. Akinola, extremely well done, guys. To Nigeria. Okay, I think I've read that before. Kachi HM said, if they want to do the right thing, tribalism will kick in. If you want to, okay. The third force, that's scale, would be a great if, but we Mogalu, Drote, Duke, Falano, Agbakoba, and others be able to work together to make it reality. Each of them want to be president without teamwork. That is what I was talking about. Then I think to Nigeria, wow, even when our pilot is rescued, we act as if it's some negative event. Why can't we take yes for an answer? No,
What does Nigeria mean by yes?
It was a positive event. That was what we said here.
Wait. I want to engage to Nigeria. Perhaps let him react.
Okay.
What does it mean by positive for an answer? We did acknowledge that the indigenes who rescued in that they are patriotic Nigerians. Yes. We did acknowledge, and we thank God that the man
did not lose his life. Yes. The flight lieutenant.
Yes.
He's still alive.
So I don't know how he wants us to.
I think Kachi said remove Duke. Dear, I beg. Hey, he was a governor of Cross University. Okay. A jet fighter crashed in their fight against banditry, and they rescued the pilot. Never heard jet fighter were used against IPOP or Igboho group. We just criticized for anything. Now, I think he's trying to say that a jet fighter was used there. There was never anything like air raid in the southeastern part. That is where Nigeria is driving at.
What is Nigeria saying?
I don't think that's
in Olo there was
there was air bombardment. I think Nigeria has left the country for a very long time.
Maybe he's not into reality. He
doesn't even know what. I had somebody that came into the country. He's always talking like Nigeria. From the airport, his phone got missing.
But I don't understand what
from the airport to last week.
Thank God if you watch what transpired at newspaper stand this morning.
Yes.
We had a privilege of other persons who
were never
regular.
There. No, so the woman on red came because of two Ninja and one other guy's comment.
Of course.
They were seeing the comments from the background and they were like, who are these people? That was why they came to talk.
So I don't understand what two Nigeria is trying to say.
But I think let's move away from that. So the villagers spotted them according to you. Don't you think they are in collaboration? The so-called villagers know where they reside. Yes, someone is saying the villagers spotted the bandits.
Don't forget that Shegumi, the instances is on record how he visited bandits. I'm not faulting his visit because in a situation like this, somebody can mediate peace, somebody can negotiate for ransom.
Yes, it's true.
I'm not faulting
that. Even in international.
What I'm trying to say in essence is, if he can visit, we have seen pictorial evidence, even video evidence. I think the government have a leeway on how to get to them and decimate them. There's even a photograph going viral where the current governor of Katsina State had picture with bandits. All of them were within AK-47 and some other weapon. So what I'm trying to say in essence is the government, going by all these pictorial and video evidences, the government should know how to locate them for purpose of bombing them. I quite understand and agree with the Kaduna State governor, who one time said that the bandits have lost right to life, going by their nefarious activities. Having said that, you should walk the talk and use the federal might against them.
Okay, Mr. Mati, I really want to let's read some of the comments here. Kachi HM says, so the villagers spotted them according to you. Don't you think they are in collaboration? The so-called villagers know where they reside. Yes, the villagers.
No, you may not fault the villagers.
Yes.
Do you know why?
If you talk, they'll go and kill your families and your children overnight.
If you understand what happened, they say they have to heal him
from the bandits.
Yes.
And I'm sure
and wait, another thing. When they needed to transport him to the headquarters at Guzau, they needed to address him in a native attire to portray him as a villager. If not so, they would have killed him. And the villagers' identity need to be covered.
Yes. Because if the bandits knows that it is so person that led the covering of the guy, they will kill all of them.
Definitely.
That's the reality of what we have in Nigeria. If you are in, like some of us, maybe we'll add some of you guys to different WhatsApp groups in other part of the country. If you see stories of what is happening in some part of this country, you will weep. So the villagers did a very nice job. They saw the bandit. The bandits might be known, but you can't challenge somebody that is equipped with gun and ammunition, even if he resides in your next neighbor. So, Kachi HM, that is the reality we find ourselves in. Even if a youth party emerges, tribalism will still play a role. I have had discussion with people who are very educated but still get the same Igbo Yoruba nonsense. Well, that's another factor which most times will affect our politicking in this part of the world. But if we have to consider that what happened in the NSAS, tribalism never played a critical role.
Of course.
So if we can bring in that picture of a unified agitation and there was a unified focus, I think everything is possible. The Igbo man does business in Lagos and there was no tribalism. They sell land to them. So why can't that be replicated in politics? I don't know. Nigerian youth are sleeping. They don't know their powers. It's a shame. Kel, please restore the phone line so people can call. Okay, we're working on that, and maybe in the subsequent Pundit program, we'll bring in our phone lines. So Nigeria, that was with helicopter in the east. We are talking jet fighters. Okay, maybe to Nigeria have a superiority of information with
maybe
the
some
Air Force
information
we are not bringing.
Maybe you can do us favor by
to share some videos of Nigerian news that
going by his
on this very one.
Maybe he has some classified information that will help arrive at some resolution here.
Okay, Bongsma, wow, amazing to see my two best here. Oh my god, nice seeing you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you
very much.
Yes, final thought, Mr. Matthew. I think we've talking on.
Okay, thank you very much. My final thought is this: that the government that have the responsibility to protect life and property should rise to the occasion and do the needful to protect life and property. And secondly, that the government should cease the rule of law. The government should subject itself to the rule of law, because only way you can have a decent society. Thank you very much.
Okay, viewers at home as well as those in governance, my final thought is based on the fact that in order to make the country called Nigeria to be among the committees of nation that we'll be proud of to call our own, where justice, equity, fairness, rule of law is at work, those in governance should do the needful. There shouldn't be selective justice where a part of the country is seen to have been marginalized and pushed to the brim, while others feel they own the country and can do whatsoever they feel like doing. So those in governance, those in diaspora, you can please help in whichever capacity you feel you can render assistance, either in formation of new political party, youth movement and emancipation, political awareness. Like Flip TV is also a platform that encourages such youth robust engagement, because ordinarily the normal television and media houses seem to have been bastardized to a reasonable extent by the same political class. So we endeavor those in governance and those within the governing structure to do the needful and make Nigeria a better place for everyone to live. My name is Effiong Samuel, and with me is Mr. Oloku Bienusi Matthew. See you same time tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye.